My name is Greg Zeller, and I'm a sales and marketing professional from Chester County, Pennsylvania. I was born and raised in Chester County, and I'm married to my beautiful wife Tina of 18 years, and we have a son who's just amazing, 9-year-old Tyler, and he's really become the joy of our lives. There's a lot of external activities that I enjoy. I've been really involved in the music industry for quite some time. I'm a percussionist by trade, played a little bit of guitar and piano as well, but it's really provided some really interesting and unique opportunities for me. I love to get out and play golf as well, but I don't get to do that as often as I would like. And now, don't hold it against me, but I am also a dedicated Eagles fan. I've also developed an affinity for photography. It's a hobby I really enjoy. In fact, I've turned it into a bit of a small business and do some photography on the side. And it's really a fun outlet for my creative side to be able to get out and interact with people and try to capture them at those special moments. In today's competitive business climate, I think communication is really a tremendous asset for any individual or company. And I think one of my strongest assets is my ability to effectively communicate and interact with people of a wide range of backgrounds, whether it's educational backgrounds, whether it's different positions within an organization. I seem to be able to connect, and I think it's really important that you connect with people when you're conducting business or trying to sell. If you can develop trust and build a bond between you and your client, it's just a much better environment and a much more comfortable environment for both parties to work in. I have an extremely diverse background as well, which I consider a tremendous asset. In my younger years, I worked for my father's business, who was an industrial and architectural model builder. So I had some really interesting and challenging experiences back in those days, working in the Boeing Vertol Flight Simulator Lab, for example, or we've done some work for Franklin Institute, Science Museum of Virginia, PennDOT. I mean, the list goes on and on. So even as a very young man right out of high school, I had a lot of interesting opportunities and interactions with executives and engineers and those types of people that really helped, I think, broaden my horizons and allow me to be a better communicator and interact with people at different levels. Also, my musical background I consider a tremendous asset. Obviously it's not something that you would utilize in day-to-day activity per se, but in the musical environment, you're constantly working within a team-type organization. Once in a while you might play solo, but the reality is you're usually in some type of an ensemble. And when you're working in an ensemble, it's important that you listen, on the musical side, but also in a business environment, you have to be able to listen to who you're interacting with and understand what the challenges, the problems are. And that way you can better present a solution to help them through and solve the issue. I think one of my most important attributes is my eagerness and willingness to learn. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and I think in this day and age of modern technology that it's really critical that you stay on top of current trends. If you don't, it's very easy to lag behind. And business is so competitive today that you really need to bring your A game at all times if you want to excel. So whether it's sales techniques, whether it's marketing concepts, whether it's industry trends, it's really important for me to kind of keep my finger on the pulse, if you will, and I think that makes me a much more valuable asset to any organization. One area in particular that's near and dear to my heart is the area of training. It's something I really enjoy doing, presenting in front of large groups of people. In my past position, I was actually in charge of training all of our distributors, both domestically and internationally. So I had an opportunity to interface with sales teams from, obviously, the United States, Australia, China, the UK, Germany, Sweden, Denmark. So it's been I've had some multicultural experiences, if you will, being able to interact with people from all around the globe, and that's really exciting to me. Well, when it comes to weaknesses, I prefer to shift the paradigm a bit, and I would rather look at weaknesses as an opportunity. Everybody has got room to grow. Having been a musician most of my life, that's one of the first things that you learn is that there's really no end point as to how far you can advance as a musician. It's an ongoing journey. And I look at myself the same way. So I'm constantly striving to improve myself, and my ultimate goal would be to improve in the areas that are going to be most pertinent to and beneficial to the company that I'm working for. So I'm very attuned to my skill sets and areas that I might need to focus on to make myself a better employee to the person I'm working for. I grew up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and graduated from Westchester East Senior High School. And shortly after that, went to Westchester University for one semester, and then decided to go out and kind of investigate the real world a little bit. So I set off on developing my career, and actually had a very successful career. And it wasn't until a little bit later in life that I made the decision to go back and get complete my formal education. So I've got my Bachelor's of Science in Business Management, graduated with a 3.79 GPA. And it's something that I think for me, it worked out really well, because having had such a great deal of real world experience before really diving into academia, it gave me the opportunity to kind of balance the two. Well, let's face it, it's a competitive world out there, and there's no question that stress plays a big role in business today. To me, it's just part of the game. By nature, I tend to be a fairly even-keeled person. So, in a stressful environment, my ultimate objective in any scenario really is to try to identify what the challenge or problem is, attack a solution, try to figure out what's going to be the best solution to resolve that issue, and then implement that solution so that we can move on. I'm a career-oriented guy, so my goal is to find a company that provides a stable work environment, a company that values its employees, a company that has a culture that is in sync with my own, a company that will allow me to utilize the skill sets that I have to the maximum and even stretch beyond my comfort zone. There's no question that it's an incredibly competitive environment out there today, and there's so many qualified candidates for so many varying positions. Trying to set yourself apart, can be a challenge at times, but I'm a believer that there's kind of two aspects to a person's business career. There's skill sets that you can learn, formalized skill sets, trainings, whether it's sales techniques, whether it's marketing strategies, whether it's how to operate a spreadsheet or those types of things. But there's also a more human element to each of us, and that's something that's kind of inherent within our personalities, and that can be difficult to change. To find somebody that's got a good balance between being personable, likable, able to interact, able to teach, train, and sell, that also has those same acquired skill sets on the more technical side, I think that's where I really shine. Well, I want to thank you very much for asking the questions. I hope it's given you a little bit more insight as to who I am and what I'm about. Hopefully, if you feel that I can be an asset to your particular organization and maybe help you achieve your goals, I would be more than interested in speaking with you directly. If you need to reach me, you can contact me at 484-886-8294, or you can certainly email me at g-zeller@comcast.net. Thank you very much, and I hope to meet you in person soon.